We're honored to have with us today the CEO of Avelo Airlines, Andrew Levy, and he's got quite a story to tell. Welcome, Andrew. Appreciate you coming on today.
No, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So we were talking beforehand. Give us the purpose, not so much the mission of Avelo Airlines and what you guys are trying to do.
Sure. Well, our purpose is to inspire travel,
Mm-hmm.
and we do that principally by saving customers both time and money. And our whole business is geared toward fulfilling that purpose. Our focus is going into secondary airports, typically small airports of larger metropolitan areas, and offering a convenient alternative to the big airport down the road, let's say, that's become crowded, congested, and a really difficult experience, and also much more expensive. And so we come into communities in different parts of the country, set up shop, and we offer a really simple short haul air transportation product that we deliver safely, reliably, with everyday low fares, and a lot of kind and caring crew members that take care of our customers each and every day. And it works. It resonates. People love what we're doing, and we've seen a lot of success. We're 4.5 years into this, so we still got a long way to go. We're still very small, but we're making great progress, and we're excited about what we've accomplished so far, and really excited about the future.
Yeah, we'll talk about your big announcement here in a second, but I wanted to ask you about your reception. I mean, in Connecticut, where this is why we connected. It's not been good because of the some political issues. And Connecticut's one of the most or the most infiltrated state in the country as far as the Marxist ideology. But elsewhere in the country, what's been the reception to your business proposition?
Well, look, I think that just the scheduled service part of our business, which is by far and away the by far the biggest part of our company, and will continue to be going forward. It resonates with the populations of those communities really well. People love what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as you're referencing, we did earlier this year dedicate some airplanes with the Department of Homeland Security. And so we're flying a few airplanes for them, and it's in support of what ICE is doing,
Mm-hmm.
Immigration Control and Enforcement. And as we indicated at that time, this was a purely commercial decision, and it made sense for the business then. It makes sense for us now, and we've flown for the United States government since 2021. We've flown for a variety of agencies, including DHS, DOD,
Mm-hmm.
HHS, and as a U.S. airline, when the government asks us to fly, we have a strong bias to say yes to that. And in this case, it was commercially the right decision for us. And as you've noted, there's some folks who have taken a real issue with that, and there's certainly a lot of folks who are deeply offended by that decision and want us to reverse that decision. And so the last few months have certainly been more interesting than I would have anticipated as a result of this issue. We've waded ourselves into this political issue and didn't intend to get in the middle of it, but it's clearly on a lot of people's minds.
Well, I can tell you all over the country, the support of ICE is hugely popular. I mean, it's not maybe in Connecticut, but you mentioned you're based in Texas. I would imagine it's pretty popular there. But what's been the impact of like these groups, Indivisible? We've covered this a lot, that are trying to go after you in Connecticut. Has it impacted you financially or reputationally or any other business wise?
I'd say the short answer is no, financially.
Mm-hmm.
We have not, when you expect to see, when you look at your sales numbers,
Mm-hmm.
and you're kind of looking to see an effect, and even when you're looking, you still don't see it, makes me feel very confident saying that no, we have not seen any effect on our sales in any market that we've served around the country. Now, I have no doubt that there are some individuals who might have considered flying with us who have chosen for political reasons not to. But if that's the case, which I'm sure is true, but I get angry emails about people who maybe didn't have a good experience. We do a great job. We're the number one airline in on-time performance in the United States, and we've been that way for almost 3 years, since 2023.
Wow.
But we do have bad days, and sometimes we have customers who don't like their experience, and they'll say, "I'll never fly you again," and in most cases, maybe they don't. But no, we've seen no effect from our sales. Now, I mean, clearly, our brand has taken a little bit of a reputation hit, because for a sector of the population, they are confusing us with the United States government. We're not ICE. We don't deport anybody. We fly airplanes. We fly airplanes, and in this case, we're flying airplanes for the Department of Homeland Security. We also fly airplanes for the Department of Defense, and we have flown airplanes for lots of other groups. But they're taking out, I think, their frustrations about things that are happening under this administration on us, and which I wish wasn't the case, but so be it.
You may not want to answer this, but what about the Connecticut government? Do you want to? They've been AG Tong has not been in your corner, and he's and it's not just you. There's a lot of things he's not happy with right now. Any comment on his behavior?
I think that I think my biggest issue with some political leaders in the state of Connecticut, and I don't want to name names, is that I feel that there's been a lot of 100% incorrect information that has been put out there, and it's been very frustrating to read that. I'll give you a couple examples. There was a lot of repeating of. I mean, just because you repeat something doesn't make it true, and I'll give you a few examples. Number one, that we had some sort of special tax benefit in the state of Connecticut for jet fuel. That was 100% false. Never true. Never once true. We pay the same tax rate for the purchase of jet fuel in the state of Connecticut as every other airline in the state of Connecticut, and that has never been any different. Never once. So that is just false. The second was, we're getting all this special big subsidies from the state of Connecticut. Also untrue. The state of Connecticut actually approached us asking if we would consider flying internationally, specifically to Montego Bay, because there was some money that had been allocated by a prior legislative session to support service that would be of a lot of interest to a number of residents in Connecticut. And we looked at it, and we thought we could make it work, and we decided, you know what, we'll do it. And that kind of support in the early stages of any route is commonly done in airports all around the country for route development, and that's what we've done there. And that's not free money. That helps us with a portion of the cost of operating a very expensive flight that takes a lot of hours to get there. So there's been a lot of noise that suggests otherwise, and that's simply untrue. I'd also say that I have seen some statements that suggest that somehow we're doing something that in any way is illegal. That's absurd. We fly. Everything we do as a company, we do at the highest levels of safety and regulatory compliance, and to even suggest that anything we do is illegal is I have a real problem with it, because it's simply factually untrue. So there have been some leaders who have made comments of that nature, and I haven't personally cared for that at all. There's been a lot of other leaders who have been pretty silent, and I certainly appreciate that, because this was a decision we made that was purely a commercial decision. It was the same commercial decision that we made when there was a different administration in charge in Washington, D.C. And this is a commercial decision for our business. It's the right thing for our business. And, look, people are free to obviously express themselves, and that's fine. I mean, but I prefer they stick to the facts and not put out their falsehoods. So that's been a bit frustrating at times.
Well, it seems like a reasonable request. Well, let's talk about the big announcement you got. You're bringing on some new aircraft, and I think some of it has to do with short takeoff and landing capabilities, which as a former military pilot, I totally get. That's a big game changer. Tell us about what you're doing.
Well, so today we fly 22 Boeing 737 next generation aircraft, and they're terrific airplanes. And we expect actually to add several more 737s, certainly between now and when we start taking this new airplane, which I'll talk about in a moment. It's a great airplane, but the 737, especially the 800 series, which is the majority of our fleet, it's a big airplane. It's 190 seats. Today we announced an order for the purchase of 50 aircraft that are manufactured by Embraer, which is the leading manufacturer of smaller aircraft in the world. Everybody that's listening to this who's flown in the United States has probably flown on one of their airplanes connecting through a hub, or even if you live in a hub city, maybe flying it on a smaller route. These are the airplanes that are 2x2 seating in the cabin. This version of airplane that they've produced is a large, let's call it a small mainline aircraft. To me, it's still pretty large, but it'll accommodate about 140 seats. It's going to have 2x2 seating, full-size bins, lots of stowage underneath the seat in front of you. We're going to have power in the seats. It's going to be a phenomenal product for our customers. And Embraer does a terrific job of building aircraft and supporting aircraft. And we're thrilled because not only are we announcing a huge order of these aircraft, we're actually the first airline in the United States to fly this aircraft in the U.S. And we're very excited to bring this airplane to the U.S. market. And we think it's going to be, as you mentioned, a game changer for us.
Well, you mentioned power in the seats. As a guy who travels a lot, that's critical. I actually have to go in and check and make sure there's Wi-Fi and power before you get on a plane.
We don't have Wi-Fi right now, and we might in the future with this airplane, perhaps. But look, those things, customers love those things. Now, the one thing we have is that, look, we fly short haul trips. Our average length of departure is just a little over 2 hours. I don't see that changing at all. This airplane is just going to be a better sized airplane for a lot of what we do. And it's going to complement really nicely the 189 seat 737s that we intend to continue to operate for many, many years to come.
Any new routes that are coming online?
Well, we have announced a few new ones that are coming in different parts of the country. New Haven is, in fact, our largest base of operations. And recently we announced service to Key West, Florida, which starts in the fourth quarter. So we're very excited about that. It's off to a very nice start. We have a few other new routes from other bases that we serve, including Wilmington, North Carolina, Charlotte, Concord. It's a satellite airport in the Charlotte metro area. We're serving to a couple different places from there. So, we're very much growing the business and expect to do so as we go through next year. But at the moment, right now, we are actively seeking additional Boeing 737 aircraft to bring into our fleet into next year. This Embraer order that we talked about, the first delivery doesn't show up until the first half of 2027. So that's a good ways away.
Yeah.
And so, lots of exciting news, I'm sure, that we can share between now and then as time goes on and we have more airplanes to work with.
Look forward to it. Is there anything else you want the world to know?
Look, I think I've said a lot that's really important. But I think that we are a small airline. We have 22 airplanes. As an example, some of the largest airlines in the United States, household names, they have close to 1,500 airplanes.
Yeah.
So we are a teeny tiny little business, but we are continuing to make a great deal of progress. We're doing something that people really like. We've carried over 8 million people on 63,000 flights since we started. What we're doing resonates with people. We have great reliability, everyday low fares. And what we're doing works well. And we're just really excited as more and more people are aware of what we do, give us a try, see that they can get a fantastic experience on an Avelo airplane out there where we serve. And, we're just building a great business one step at a time. So thanks for the opportunity to come on the show and talk a little bit about us and what we're doing.
I appreciate it. And we look forward to, I guess, following your growth over the next few years. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate
Thanks
it,
a
Andrew.
lot.
All
Have a
right.
good day.